Hey guys, so gonna go out and fly the N3N today with my friend Curtis Wheeler, the guy that owns the T6 Texan. So my first time flying in a biplane. Yeah, first time in a biplane. So we'll just go up and fly around. I just have one camera position with the Insta 360 out on the wing. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I know I will. It'll be fun.
Selling these rides for $550.
Good Lord.
What's yours out there? No problem.
When discussing historic aircraft, one usually mentions fighters, bombers, and even cargo planes. But in some accounts, training aircraft are equally or even more important. One such trainer, the Navy N3N Yellow Peril, was used to school tens of thousands of naval aviators and U.S. Naval Academy midshipmen for World War II and the Cold War. The N3N had its origins in a 1934 design for a primary trainer for the Navy, a successor to the consolidated NY series biplanes, then in naval service. The new aircraft was to be produced by the Naval Aircraft Factory in Philadelphia. Thus, the first N indicated trainer T already being used for torpedo planes, the 3 indicated the third NAF design, and the final N was for Naval Aircraft Factory. The plane would have all metal wings and fuselage structure, with fabric covering. A significant feature would be removable side panels for ease of inspection and maintenance, an important factor for aircraft that would be flown at a high tempo and abused, as trainers were. The aircraft also would be convertible, able to be fitted with floats or wheels. As a seaplane, a single large centerline float was provided, along with twin underwing stabilizing floats. In its primary training role, the aircraft used wheels. The landing gear was narrow, providing limited lateral stability at touchdown. This led many students to ground loop the aircraft when landing. With trainers then painted yellow, the N3N was quickly given the nickname Yellow Peril. An inertia starter powered by a removable hand crank was used to start the engine. Taxiing required a series of S-turns because, when on the ground, visibility from the open cockpits was partially blocked by the engine. Takeoff required about 600 feet of runway with minimum wind. Once aloft, according to retired Rear Admiral James L. Doc Abbott Jr., the N3N was easy to fly. I certainly loved flying it. Oh yes, I looped it many times and virtually all other aerobatics as well. Wingovers, Immelmans, snap rolls, slow rolls, as well as stalls and spins. Following its first flight on 26th of October 1936, the prototype XN3N1 was flight tested with both wheels and floats at Philadelphia and Anacostia, Washington, D.C. The design was considered successful and ordered into production at NAF, with the first of 179 Newtons 3N1S being delivered in June 1936. A single XN3N2 was ordered, and the fourth N3N1 was modified to serve as the XN3N3 prototype. These aircraft had minor changes and a slightly more powerful engine. The last N3N1 was produced in 1938 and followed by 816 definitive N3N3 aircraft. Improvements included revising the vertical tail, modifying the landing gear, and deleting the N3N1 anti-drag ring from the engine cowling. The last feature was subsequently deleted from the N3N1. In 1941, 4 N3N3 were transferred to the Coast Guard, and although several aircraft were seen in Marine Corps livery, they were not actually owned by the Corps. The Yellow Peril served as the primary trainer for U.S. naval aviation during World War II. Its role was important, but received little publicity or attention outside of the training community. However, one widely displayed war poster did show an aviation cadet looking skyward toward his future as a naval aviator in front of a Yellow Peril. The aircraft was declared surplus after the war and quickly discarded, with many being taken up by civilian aviators. The Navy retained several that, fitted with floats, were employed for aviation orientation at the Naval Academy, arriving at the school in June 1946. Float planes were required because of the lack of an airstrip at the Academy or even an airfield in Annapolis. On sunny days, the Yellow Perils could be seen taxiing on the Severn River, at times avoiding pleasure boats and the Navy's own sail training craft. Aviation historians Gordon Swanborough and Peter M. Bowers wrote, "The use of open cockpit biplanes, and seaplanes at that, since the fleet no longer used float seaplanes, was not quite the anachronism one might imagine. The Navy still taught its midshipmen to handle sail in the dawn of the nuclear-powered ship, so the use of obsolete propeller-driven biplanes in the jet age was understandable. Although sail training is still taught at the Naval Academy, the Yellow Perils are long gone. The last N3N was retired in 1961. It was the final biplane in U.S. military service, as the Air Force had disposed of its last Stearman biplane trainers in 1948. The Naval Aircraft Factory of the scores of U.S. firms producing aircraft during the past century, the Naval Aircraft Factory in Philadelphia was unique. It was the only government-operated aircraft production facility in the country. When the United States entered World War I in April 1917, the Army ordered thousands of aircraft from the existing manufacturers. Those firms had little interest in building the relatively small numbers of specialized aircraft that the Navy required. Accordingly, in 1918, the Navy established its own aircraft factory at the Philadelphia Navy Yard. Thus, the Navy would build its own planes. The facility, however, soon gained value by being able to produce very small numbers of experimental or highly specialized aircraft, and to provide comparative cost data for use in dealing with commercial aircraft manufacturers. Beyond producing one-of-a-kind designs for the Navy, such as the N3N Yellow Peril, the factory also undertook limited production runs of aircraft being built by other firms. Thus, the Navy factory built 155 PBN Nomad flying boats, a variant of the consolidated PBY Catalina. The Naval Aircraft Factory operated through most of World War II. It ended aircraft production in early 1945, bringing to an end an often overlooked chapter in U.S. aviation history.
All right, back from the flight. That was super fun. Cool airplane. I like the way it handles. I was expecting that the rudder to aileron would take more input. It was pretty light rudder response for coordinating your turns and stuff. So, man, that was a lot of fun. And big thank you to Curtis Wheeler for taking me out for a flight. It's clear. Mike and Curtis just went up in the biplane to go have fun, and so I'm just hanging out at the fuel pumps out here at Stead, waiting for him to get back. A lot of fun. Mike? Woo! Yeah, alright. You liked it? flies well, doesn't it?
That's great.
Yeah, real solid. Like it's on rails. Hey everybody, hope you enjoyed my video flying the N3N with my friend Curtis. I had a total blast flying in that plane. Really cool 1941 aircraft, and really like to thank everybody for watching my video. Also, as usual, I have my company Skybound Legacy, where I am making logbooks that address a lot of the industry's issues with pilot logbooks. That typically the logbooks are not as tall as they are wide, and so the pages end up falling out over time. And also, a logbook should also have, like the student log should have the training syllabus inside the logbook, so when a designated examiner does a review, they can see everything has been done. So I've created these logbooks with all the correct endorsements, and also the FAR requirements for solo and for taking your check ride. The instructor can go and check off that they've done each FAR requirement for the check ride, and this logbook will stay with the student, and that way the instructor knows what they've covered. So I've created one for powered airplane, student pilot, and also the sailplane student pilot. Did I grab the right one? Yeah, the sailplane student pilot. They're hardbound, they'll last a long time, and I also have the sailplane professional pilot logbook. I put my name on it just in case with just a white sticker, but this is the sailplane private through professional logbook that is also hardbound, and the pages don't fall out because it's taller than the old ones that are kind of thin or not very tall and wide, and then the pages drop out over time. This hardbound binding keeps the pages in there longer. Also, doing this on the fly, the student logbooks also have more room to write the lesson plans in them. There's way more room. You'll know that the old logbooks had a tiny entry for remarks. This is much bigger for remarks, so that your instructor can write down exactly what you guys did. So head on over to Skybound Legacy, buy one of the logbooks. There's my name. Buy one of my logbooks if you would, and let me know how it works for you. I've just started putting these out. I also have merchandise, Skybound Legacy hats and shirts. I also have mugs, and here's my hats. Got my Skybound Legacy hats, shirts, mugs, other things, that I've been adding new items on there as we go. So thanks for this quick promo. Big shout out to my Patreon members. They have helped me out a lot to keep this channel going. Also, while I'm in between jobs for the last year and a half, focusing on Skybound Legacy and also on a flying career. Thank you to my Patreon members, and I have a list of them right here. Thank you to all these people. And with that, we'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks a lot.